Hi, this is Melanie, and I'm with my friend Ethan, and today we're talking about food shortages. If you haven't researched that at all, it's looking like it's going to hit us pretty hard, especially here in the U.S. And we're just kind of talking about how to prepare for that. And Ethan can talk about the UK and how that's coming his way as well. Would you like to say something about that?
Well, it's actually already happening for some people, small numbers of people. So because of COVID, they're doing local lockdowns. So one of the cities they've done that here in the UK is Leicester, where they've done a local lockdown for no real reason. And the people that they're locking down literally can't leave their home, so they can't food shop. And so they're providing the food. The food they're providing is horrific,
wow.
and not very much. However, that's right now. But in the future, what's coming is there's not going to be food in the stores. We've saw a little touch of that in this first lockdown, where there were certain foods were difficult to get. It was difficult in the UK. It was very difficult for some months to get rice, for example. But it was just odd foods here and there that you couldn't get. But mostly you could. Yeah, it wasn't too difficult getting foods. But in the very near future, all the predictions from anyone that has any clue what's going on are we're going to have massive starvation type food shortages, as they've had in many other countries that have gone through similar things on a country by country level. But this is obviously a worldwide level. But Venezuela is the case in point, where they're past eating rats and their pets now. It's got really bad. So many people that are aware of what's going on are looking to do a number of things, one of which is to have food stored. They're trying to stop that by calling it selfish to prepare. There's coming food shortages, but don't prepare, because that would make you a hoarder and selfish. But anyone that's got any brains is going to ignore that, and then they're going to prepare. So we should be preparing for that eventuality. It is going to happen. It's going to affect some areas worse than others. We don't know which, and eventually I think probably all areas, but we don't know exactly where and exactly when. But I am expecting serious food shortages this year in the States. And like I say, in some sense, it's already happening in the UK in certain areas where they're just locking them down. You can't leave the house. Well, we're going to have a bigger lockdown coming soon. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen, and we need to be prepared. So that's what's going on in the UK.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody in California last night, and they were doing sheltering in place already there. And also, here in the United States, we have limits on certain things that we can buy, and it's been hard, like you were saying, in the UK to get things now and then. But yeah, it's coming, and I know that our family has prepared, and we've bought rice and beans and canned foods and the typical things that you used to prep. But we're also concerned about nutrition and how to get the best nutrition for our kids. That isn't going to be something that's been processed, and a lot of the nutrition is gone. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Okay, so yeah, for sure. So first of all, we've got to differentiate between nutrition and calories. Okay, because so we want both. Okay, so my advice, so we need food that can store, and not by refrigeration, because the chances are good that we're going to have electricity cuts. So if all your food is frozen, you're going to be running into trouble with that. So you need to have dried food, really, or other forms like smoked or salted, or those kind of fermented, those kind of forms of preservation. So in terms of calories to fill you, the cheapest and probably one of the better options, if you can get it, which I think right now we can in the UK, I presume you can in the States, but it's the big sacks of rice. So you can use the rice to fill yourself and to go with anything else that you might have. Rice is one of those things you can mix pretty much anything with it.
Yes.
So whatever you can get, whether it be vegetables or fruit or meat or any kind of food, pretty much you can mix with rice, and now you've got the filling aspect of the rice. Anyway, so we were just talking about rice as a filling agent. Now, in terms of how do we have a nutritious food that keeps well and so on? Well, so one of the supplements that I've been recommended for a long time to turn people's health around, but also for healthy people, happens to fulfill all of the criteria needed for prep food. So it's concentrated food. It has a long shelf life. Um, it's 44 organic superfood fruits and veggies and medical mushrooms and algae. So it has a very broad cross section of superfoods. I'm not going to go into the organic nature of it, but it's way above the USDA standard of organic. It's proper organic, not the USDA rubbish. And one scoop of this stuff is the equivalent of 33 servings of organic fruit and veggies, but not just regular veggies like superfood fruit and veggies and mushrooms and algae like spirulina and chlorophyll and all of this. So it has all of the minerals and all of the vitamins that your body needs. That's 60 odd minerals for those that don't know. Within the minerals and all of the vitamins, and also it has probiotics and it has enzymes and it has fiber. So it is a massive range of the nutrients that we need. Now, keeping healthy is going to be difficult when you don't have access to good food. So this is a way of getting the best possible food. And it's very inexpensive. I've got a canister here. So I've been taking this for a long time anyway. I take this as part of my health regime because it's difficult to get all the minerals in a food state, and it's difficult to get all the vitamins and so on and so on. So I take this anyway. But in terms of a prep food, this has a very long lifespan, at least a year shelf life. And in truth, it's going to last a lot longer than that. That's just the date they have to put on it. And like I say, so let me open it. This is there's not much left actually. If you can see that, but it's a scoop with a powder in it. Okay, so maybe I should be scooping it that way. So it's a powder that you just add to water. Now, if you can add it to other stuff, but it actually tastes pretty decent, so water's fine. And that's going to provide you with the equivalent of 33 servings of organic fruits and veggies. Now, in the event of a situation like I've described, you might not want to take a full dose. You might want to drag it out, and half a dose is still like 21.5 servings or so of organic fruits and veggies. So that is a way of, when you can't get fruit and you can't get veggies, of getting a mass and in a form, and you could add that to your rice. Okay, I don't think it would taste that great with rice particularly. I haven't tried it, but I doubt it's going to taste that great. But that would fill you and give you massively more nutrients than any normal meal, than any normal 10 meals. So this is a way of getting all your nutrients. I say all your nutrients, it hasn't got everything. There are it wouldn't be giving you enough omega-3, for example. There's certain fatty acids and certain things that would be not sufficient in there. But in terms of all your minerals and all your vitamins and certain other nutrients, then it's going to cover your whole base. So this is something which you can also, it's also a small area. That's a month's supply at full dose of 33 servings. So that'd be a half dose. That would be a month's supply for 2 people. So that's a very small space to save a month's supply of food. And cost-wise, you're talking for the 33 servings, you're talking in the region of $2. Depending on, there's various things that you can do. So it can be less than that depending on what you do, but in the region of $2. So it's, if you were able to get 33 servings of superfood organic fruits and veggies, if that was even available, it would be costing you probably $40 or $50 or something ridiculous. So you're doing it for under $2 in a form that can be stored very, very easily. So I'm getting these in the dozens for myself, and I think this is, along with rice or other, quinoa, pasta, something to give you some bulk and to satisfy that, to fill your stomach. Something like this. I say something like this. There isn't much out there like this, to be honest. This is grown in minerally rich soil, which is the reason it has all the minerals. Because usually when they grow these greens, they grow them in deficient soil, so it's still deficient. So this is something that's absolutely going to provide a huge bang for your buck, easily stored, inexpensive. So it's a brilliant thing. If somebody says, will you post a link to the powder, yes, we can post it afterwards in the thread, because this is, as long as they don't cut us off again, we're going to leave it. So we'll post it in the thread afterwards. Actually, as well, while we're on that subject, if you've never got this stuff, if you've never ordered from this company before, the company is called Touchstone Essentials. If you've never ordered from this company before, as a first order, they offer a limited number of $50 codes. I know Mel's got some and I've got some. So if you haven't ordered, speak to us about the code. We'll get you a code. It expires on Sunday, I believe. So if you can get that order in before Sunday, you can get a further $50 off any of their products. I'm only talking about this today. But I love this. I'm not a fan of the taste of greens normally, but this stuff actually tastes decent. In fact, a lot of kids like this. They sort of asking their mums, can I have some greens? They sometimes the mums call it Hulk powder because it's green and it's a bit of a anyway. So yeah, so that's a big deal. Now, the other thing that you need, of course, is water. So I recommend getting a countertop distiller, so that you can distill your water. So even if all the water gets turned off, you can get any water from any source. You can get it from seawater, put it in your distiller, it will make drinkable water. So you do need electricity for most distillers. So you know so you might want to have a gravity filter as well that doesn't require electricity in the event it gets. I don't think electricity is going to go off long term, but it might go off for a week or something like that. So it is good to have some non-electrical things that you can use. So this, all I do with this is I put a scoop into a, you know, those I don't know what they have, a little metal shaker in there. Do you know what I'm talking about? The spring cup. What's it called?
I just call them a shaker bottle.
Okay, shaker bottle. So I just fill it up with water, throw my scoop of powder, drop the shaker thing in, took the lid, give it a good shake, and then in fact the shaker bottle things fit these, so you can use it direct. So that's all I do. But my wife, she likes to make it tasty, and that's so she puts some fruit and stuff, which is fine now, might not be easy to do in the event of a food shortage. You're not going to be able to get the fruit unless you have fruit trees and it's the season and what have you. But I really think that people should be doing this now. Now, at the end of the day, if you buy food, if you stock up on food, it's not going to cost you anything because you're going to eat that eventually anyway. You'd have to have bought food anyway, right? So it's actually not going to cost you anything to buy tins and rice and all these foods, because it's money you're going to have to spend at some point. So why not spend it now and have it in storage in case of the food shortage, which I think is a definite. But if you're not convinced, it doesn't matter. Prepare anyway. It's not going to do any harm to have these things in. So highly recommend you get food. You make sure you're prepared for water, and you need to have something like this to get the nutrients. And this is the cheapest way you're ever going to get of getting all this nutrients. You're just not going to be able to do it cheaper. So it's not only the most convenient and the best way of doing it, it happens to be the cheapest way as well. So if anyone has any questions, how many would you advise stocking up on? Well, that per person, right? I think the minimum you want to stock up on is 6 months supply, minimum. And I think a year is better. Obviously, it partly depends on finances. If you've got the money to stock up a year in advance, then stock up a year. Now that, for a serving, that's equivalent of 33 servings of organic fruit and veggies. In the event of food shortage, you might drop that to half of that amount. So in which case, as I say, this would last 2 people a month if you drop that to half serving. So if you had 12 of these, that would last 2 people a year. So that would be a good amount. But you need to be prepared for an extended period of time for sure. And I know I don't like to bring in too negative things, but we got to look at realism. But it's possible in other countries that have gone through this, they have gone door to door checking on people's amounts of food and taken food from people that if they had felt they had too much, to share it around. So if you have an ability to hide some of your food maybe in a big plastic box and buried in the garden or something, that's an idea as well, to hide some of it. These are quite easy to hide. It's silver foil on the top when it's unopened. so it's completely waterproof, so you can hide these quite easy, and that's a month's supply for potentially 2 people in that small space. So it makes it easy to tuck away somewhere outside if that happens. I'm not saying it will happen. All I'm saying is it has happened in other countries that have gone through these kind of things. Okay, any other questions that anyone has? Throw them out. Have you got anything you want to add to that, Mel?
No, well, yeah, kind of. We've already started stocking up on that because it just gives me more peace of mind that I'm going to actually get my kids some nutrients, and my husband and I as well during this time. And I mean, we've been buying them in bulk too. So, yeah.
And actually, even if nothing happens, this is a really inexpensive way of getting fruit and veggies into your kids or into you. Most of us, we don't eat enough fruit and veggies. That's just the truth of it. I don't even know what the current recommendation is, but the fruit and veggies that we buy in the store are all deficient because they're all grown in deficient soil. So you have to eat. It used to be that when our grandparents ate a bowl of spinach, they got all their daily iron. Now, in the current spinach that's we purchase because of this soil, we now have to eat 44 bowls to get the same amount. So it's just ridiculous. You can't do that. This is like going back to the days of your grandparents when they only had to have 1 bowl. This is really intense because of the soil that it's grown in. So this is even if nothing happens, if you sort of thinking, I'm not convinced, it's still worth using these. I mean, I've been using these for a long time without any belief of food shortage. So the food shortage has just meant that I'm buying it in much bigger amounts than I used to. So yeah, let me have a look if there's any other questions. What other foods to stock up on? Okay, well, you need some things to fill you. Okay, so as I said, so rice and pasta and quinoa and those because they're all dried, so they're all things you can easily store and relatively small amount of space. So the next to that, I normally don't eat canned foods because they're not the best. However, canning is one of the ways that we can preserve foods for a long time. So buying some canned foods is a good idea. So I, for example, bought quite a lot of like meats in cans. So things like chicken curry, you can buy in a can. So chicken curry with my rice, it's just a can and some rice, and I have a meal. Now it might not be the most nutritious meal, but it's going to satisfy me, and then I'm getting my nutrition from that. I have some other sources of different nutrition as well that I use, but this is covering the bulk of my needs there. So so psychologically, if I can have some rice and a curry, I'm going to feel satisfied. Or other things that you get in cans. There's lots of different meats, but also you can get some vegetables in cans and some soups if you want, that kind of thing. Just the kind of foods that they might not be the healthiest foods. On the whole, you're going to struggle to get healthy foods. If you can know how to get meat from let's say a deer or something that you hunt and get the deer, and then you know how to preserve the meat, not in a freezer but other ways, then that would be a great idea and a great thing to do. So you've got some preserved meat. I don't have that skill set. We don't really hunt in the UK. We haven't got guns for starters, but you in the States, some of you have that ability to hunt and get some animals and know how to preserve. You can pickle stuff, you can ferment stuff. So sauerkraut, you can make up truckloads of sauerkraut, fermented cabbage, that's super healthy. And you can keep that obviously in jars. So that kind of food, that kind of thing is going to help you tremendously.
One more thing, drying it. Like we're concerned about the meat shortage because I think that's coming. And drying meat like jerky, that's a good way too. And canning it, you can it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So all of that. I'm really a bit panicked about. I'm wondering how I'm going to manage on the ice cream. How am I going to do that with no electricity? Ice cream is not going to be top of the list, although it would make me feel good.
Chocolate.
So a little bit of chocolate, storing up some chocolate would be a real treat. If you in small pieces, every now and again, it just that'd be nice to have. It's not about healthful ways. It's sometimes about psychologically just to feel good in very difficult times. So So I think that probably covers it. Have you, if there's any, I stocked up on sprouting seeds. Yeah, for sure. That's a great way if you've got the seeds and you can sprout them. You get these little indoor gardens. Yeah, that's a fantastic thing to do, and you can be growing some of your own stuff indoors. If you're growing stuff in your garden, that's going to get stolen, right? When people are food hungry, they're going to be looking for food, and if you've got food nicely growing in a garden that you're not able to sufficiently protect, that's probably going to go. So if you haven't got weapons, you might want to think about, if you're one of these people that doesn't agree with weapons, now's the time to forget that ideology and get some weapons. You might have to defend your food, so get some weapons.
Yeah, so we actually have sprouting kits, and we're ready for that. And right. I did want to add that the greens product, I checked mine last night, and the date on it was 2022.
Right, there you go. So it's quite a long date on that, and some of that sprouted as well, I think. Anyway, don't fear, but be prepared.
Right.
Okay, so just get yourself prepared for a worst case scenario. If it doesn't happen, hallelujah, praise God. If it does happen, and I think it will, then those of us that are prepared are going to come out of it a lot better than those of us that are not. And of course, part of the problem in this coming period is if you have symptoms of sickness. The people who have symptoms of sickness are going to be the people who've got the weakest immune system. In other words, the people that haven't had the healthy food. If you're eating a load of crap and you're locked down, you're going to be more likely to be sick. And once you're sick, they're going to be able to take you off to isolation, take you off to camps, whatever the rules are that come out. It's not going to be good. So you want to remain healthy, not just because you want to be healthy, but also it reduces your chance of giving them more power over you and just taking you or your children, or whoever, off to isolation camps and treating you with whatever vaccine or whatever else they want to treat you with. So you don't want to be in a situation where you're seen to be sick and giving them the opportunity to treat you for that sickness. Okay. Right. So somebody's asking for a link for sprouting kits. If we'll do our best to provide that as well. I don't know who's saying these things because we're not getting names. What I'm looking at now, when I go on Facebook, I'll be able to see later. But if you're asking for a link, you need to say what country you're in. Okay, so I'm in the UK, Mel's in the US, you're probably in one of those countries, but you might be in Canada, you might be in Australia. So tell us what country you're in, and we'll do our best to provide a link for the country that you're in. Okay, I think we're done. So thanks very much for listening, and anybody that's got any other questions, just throw them into the thread and we'll get back to them later. God bless, and again, don't fear, but be prepared.
Exactly.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. Bye.